Hey guys, hey. There's a lot to talk about. I'm checking in with the next episode of Thousand Pound Sisters, and it's season 6, episode 8, I believe. And this episode is called like Peas Out. Peas out, yo. With like peas. I don't know why. The episode doesn't really talk about peas, so it's kind of strange, but okay. Anyways, there's a lot in this episode. A lot happens. I don't know if I'll remember to cover everything, but I'm going to give out my points on it. It's for this vlog pod style video. And let's see. It starts off ending, kind of just a quick ending to what happened in the last episode. Tammy and Amanda have a discussion. They're on that walk to train themselves for the upcoming race that Chris entered them all in. And they go on this, they talk. Amanda and Tammy have this talk, right? And Tammy's not open to it. I talked about it in the last one, but yeah, she's just not. And I get this vibe that Tammy just kind of she's just standoffish to everyone. And I think she's just used to getting her way. And I'm trying to see her point of view on this, but she does mention that she just doesn't want an argument, and that's why she walks away. And she's, like, for sure, 100% that it's going to turn into an argument. And in her point of view, Amanda's just starting this conversation to start drama, whereas Amanda says she just wants to conclude everything before the trip, resolve everything so that they can have a good time. But yeah, it doesn't end up going that way. But then Tammy goes and sits with Amy. Well, first Tammy's about to leave. She's trying to leave completely. It's pretty dramatic, And then Chris gets upset because he's in the middle of his training. He wants to do more laps and, feel accomplished along with the rest of the family. And Tammy kind of understands that and just says, okay, you know what? I'm going to stay. It's fine. Which is, this is emotional growth for her. In the past, she would have definitely thrown a tantrum until she got her way and was able to leave the situation. Kind of like that time when they went on the first trip and she wouldn't get out of the car or the van because there were steps, I guess, and she was freaking out about having to move. And nothing they said would change her mind. She would not compromise on anything. And eventually they just gave up and she stayed, she was driven home or something like that. It was a long time ago, but they drove her somewhere. But anyways, I'm rambling again. I'm going to continue on. Tammy goes and sits with Amy. Amy's kind of irritated because she was walking, but I don't know. I think she kind of wanted to take a break. So who knows? But the rest of the family goes, they finish and they go and sit with Amanda and they try to figure out what happened. And wow, I was a little shocked because they were kind of putting the blame on Amanda. And, I guess it's like you usually blame the person that pokes the bear. You know what I mean? Like if you don't blame the bear for being aggressive, you blame the person that pokes the bear. And I guess that's what they're saying. Chris was saying this was not the right time or place to have this conversation. Maybe Tammy was tired or overwhelmed because she did push herself to walk more than she has in a while, probably. And I could see that. I could see that kind of point of view, but I don't know. I think Tammy was kind of in the wrong here because Amanda was correct. She told them she was not angry. She was not sarcastic. She was not aggressive in any way. She was just trying to extend a peaceful olive branch, in her words. But Tammy just shut herself down and ignored all of it. I guess she didn't believe her. She thought it was just a ploy to make drama or something. And they kind of were all against Amanda. I felt for her. And, I kind of really like Amanda's character. I really like her personality. I don't like the whole overreacting and dramatic part of her, but I do like her confidence in herself and her her no bullshitting ways, and, get straight to the point, resolve these things, don't let drama lie. I like all of that about her. I like her jokes. I know people don't like her, but I like her. I can't help it. She's funny, she's down to earth. Her kids, I don't know about her kids, especially with how they were treating the house and Tammy and that situation, but we don't know everything. We don't see the kids that much. So I can't really make a decision on that, or an opinion on that. Sorry. So anyways, this is crazy because I've only talked about like the first 2 minutes. There's still so much to cover, but I'm going to jump forward. So after this, they go to the race. It's like 2 weeks later or something, a week, 2 weeks later. And they go to the race and everyone shows up. Amy oversleeps. She shows up and she's wearing sandals. So that's ridiculous. They're like, how are you going to do this race in these sandals? And, slow and steady walking, I'm sure they're fine. It's comfortable. But I just thought that was odd. And it was just reminded me it made me think of someone who's just unprepared and just grabbed whatever they could. She was probably sleepy. But, it is what it is. It's your first race. And yeah, so they all get there. Amanda gets there. They're ready to go. But Tammy does not show up. And, automatically you think, oh, it's because of Amanda. It's because of the drama. She didn't want to deal with it. But later she does, in fact, show up after they start the race. And she does genuinely seem like she overslept. She just forgot. It doesn't seem like she's doing it because of Amanda or because of drama or just to upset people. It just seems like she missed it because she's like genuinely upset and kicking herself and saying, man, I wish I had just gotten up, or my alarm didn't go off or something. So I believe her. I'm going to give I believe that. But the race goes off and Chris is amazing. He's just running and he's just into it. He's talking about how he used to do sports and he hasn't done it in a long time, but you can tell he's very into it. The others, they walk, which would be me. I really enjoy walking. As far as a race, though, it is very exciting. They have you at the starting line and they make the noise to go. And I do get excited and I do run as well. I try to run the whole time. But if I'm, feeling down and out or worn, I will walk. And I don't see the problem with walking. If you're trying to get a good time, for sure, you got to run. When I did my races before, when I was, my goal weight, but not going to get into that right now. But when I was around my goal weight, I remember pushing myself because I wanted to beat my previous times. I wanted to get good times. Now I just kind of feel more along the lines of, I just want to finish and I just want to have a good time and enjoy it, because these races, you're spending money and you're not going to win the race. The person that's going to win is going to be, this super fit, buff trainer person that's been training all their lives. That's the person that's probably going to win. Maybe you could train to that level, but I'm not at that level. So if I'm spending money on this race, I'm going to take my time and enjoy it and see all the scenery of the race and walk, maybe jog a little bit, have some nice music playing in my headphones. And I'm not going to overstress it. I've gone that route of stressing it out and I prefer to just enjoy it. But kudos to Chris. I'm not saying he's stressing himself out. I think he just wanted to challenge himself and see that he could do it. And he did do it. And he won out of the family, right? He won the race in his eyes because he was the first out of the family. And I think his time was like 46 minutes or so. Good, decent time for someone who was, about 500 pounds or so? But it was very funny because there was one point in the race, I guess it like loops or something. And you cross people who are earlier in the race, if that makes sense. So he meets up with his sisters and they're like, well, we'll just join you. And they kind of skip a whole portion of the race and just join Chris and thinking like, oh, we can just walk with him the rest of the way. But he takes off running. He's like, if you can't keep up, sorry. And he just leaves them there. I thought that was funny. I love their whole vibes together when they're not fighting, of course. But I love how they interact with each other. It's great. There's a point, I like that back and forth they do, as long as it's not too offensive. And if it does offend someone, that they pull back, like when Amy gets offended, pull back a bit. But, that's how their family is. So the rest of the family finishes. I think Amanda and Amy are the last ones, over an hour and 20 minutes, which, they took their time and enjoyed. And Amanda, her knee is still she got like a brace on it. So I understand that. And they almost take down everything. The race coordinators are just packing up, and they have to tell them, oh, our sisters are still out there. Can you wait just a little bit? So they do wait. And that's very nice of them to have waited. And they're able to finish, and it's just very wholesome and heartwarming. And I was expecting Tammy to have a huge meltdown because she couldn't do the race and she was jealous of the others, which is something she might have done in a past season. But no, she just sits with them and enjoys the time with them, and they have a small little conversation. And Chris mentions how they are going to see the doctor again for the skin removal. And he's hoping that he's hit his goal, and they're hoping that Tammy can get approved as well. So after that, it does go on to Amanda's part of the episode where she is moving. It's short and sweet, but she is got her moving truck and she's going to Florida. It's a little bittersweet moment. Amy's there. Everyone's there. Tammy's in the car. She doesn't get out of the car, which I think is weird, but I guess she's just trying to avoid conflict again as well. But she mentions that she's going for moral support. She's going to support Amanda in her move, and she's there and she's supporting her. I don't know. I think being in the car like that, not getting out, is more of a conflict than actually just staying home or getting out and just standing there quietly. I don't know. That's just my opinion. Amanda doesn't really mention it or take notice of it. They just have this sweet little conversation because it's like the last time they're going to see her, apparently. And yeah, like I said, it's just this bittersweet moment. Amy starts to cry and that she's going to miss her. And Amanda mentions she's never coming back to Kentucky, even if it doesn't work out in Florida. She's going to move to some other state. She's just never coming back. And Chris is upset about that. But he says, if this is what you need for your mental health to be happy, I support you. And, that's such a sweet family kind of support to give, right? It's not like you're forcing them to stay. If you truly love someone, they say you'll let them go kind of thing. But it is sad. It is sad to lose a family member, right? And you are going to miss them. But, there's nowadays, there's like FaceTime and Skype and Zoom and all of that, and Facebook Messenger, social media calling. So it is easier to be away from your family in that case. But yeah, they all say goodbye, and it's just this sweet moment. Of course, Tammy is not there, unfortunately, but at least she kind of showed up. They also visit this travel agency. That was kind of random as well, but, it was cute too. They wanted to get some advice and tips on England and London since they're going. They mentioned, it was funny because Tammy said that she was wondering if they would need a translator. And Amy's like, they speak English. Wait, what? Like, yes, they do speak English, but it's true. There are some parts, I guess, some regions where they have a very thick accent, and it is kind of hard to understand. But at the same time, they also have an accent. I think Brittany was the one that said, we have an accent too. It's hard to understand us too. So I just thought that was so cute. Amy's afraid of the flight, of course. Planes are kind of scary, so I do understand her, but you can't avoid it in this case because you got to cross an ocean. And they were like, well, otherwise you got to take a boat. And Amy's like, I don't want to drown or something. It was a cute little part. but it felt more like a filler. But, it was kind of cool that they used an actual travel agent. Travel agents kind of are pushed in the background nowadays, so I thought that was cool too. And then, of course, there's the big part of the episode where they go to the skin doctor and Chris does his weigh-in. He's kind of nervous, but he started at 285. The doctor wanted him to lose at least 20, maybe 30 pounds. He hits it almost on the dot. He's at 265.2, so he's 2.2 over, but, it's 0.2. It is what it is. And yeah, the doctor is satisfied with that, and they tell him he's good to go. They're going to set up a surgery date, which he's very happy about. And I'd be happy too. Like, that's a good achievement. He said he's been waiting 3 years for this. I don't quite remember that. I don't remember the previous seasons too much I didn't pay attention back then like I do now. But yeah, I'm guessing it's been 3 years already since his surgery or more. I thought it was sooner. I guess it has been 6 seasons, so it's true. I'll have to go back and watch it again because I just missed a lot of things. But anyway, he gets approved. It's all good. And then it's Tammy's turn, which this is the nervous moment because last time she was upset and threw a tantrum as well. Tammy she actually decides to show her skin this time. Maybe because she thought he was more likely to approve her for the skin surgery. And this is where I got kind of confused because it was just Christmas in one of the episodes. It was winter, and that's when they went to see him. And they had said she wasn't at the 1.5 year mark that she needed to be. She was a little before it or something like that. Am I right? I'm probably wrong, but it was weird. And now a couple episodes later, it's this huge jump in time. Whereas I thought it was only 1 or 2 months because Chris had to lose 20 pounds, which would be a month to 2 months time. But when it comes to Tammy, they're talking about jumping 6 months ahead. So I just got really confused. Maybe they had to edit it this way and change the timeline a bit just to make the show make sense. But it was confusing to me. Very confusing. But anyway, so Tammy, she thinks maybe she's going to get approved this time. I don't know what was going through her head, but she decides she's going to let the doctor look at her skin. They look at her arms, and her arms are, a lot of skin. A lot of skin. That probably bothers her a lot, and she gets rashes and stuff. Similar with Vanessa in 1,000 Pound Best Friends. So, yeah, she does. You can tell she definitely needs the surgery. The doctor wants to look at her abdomen, which is what she really wants to fix, but Tammy is not comfortable showing it, so the cameras do leave the room, and I think this is great. In my opinion, this is great. I've always thought it was weird that the cameras are forced upon them in these kind of intimate situations. 600 Pound Life, they force them to do these shower scenes and they're practically naked or they are naked. In these shows, 1,000 Pound Best Friends, 1,000 Pound Sisters, they force them to get undressed and show their skin for the cameras a lot of the times. I've always thought that was kind of an invasion of privacy, but it is TV and you probably do have to sign a contract and things like that. So I just thought it was nice that they allowed Tammy to have this private moment to herself. Chris leaves the room. They just let her be alone with the doctor to, it's a good because, her mental stability is probably not, especially towards herself, it's not good right now. So I was just glad that they did that. And that was probably a reason in the last episode why she was so standoffish about showing her skin. Because for one, she wasn't approved, and two, she didn't want the cameras watching, and it's the same with the therapy in the earlier seasons. They wanted her to record her therapy sessions, and she was against it, which I totally understand as well. I feel like Most people would be more open to therapy if they could be in a private setting. Being on TV, you're going to be thinking about that camera. You're going to be like, maybe I shouldn't say this. Maybe I should say this. It's like that. It's just like that. That's just how the brain is. But at the end of the day, they come back in. The doctor, unfortunately, does not approve her. It's not as crushing of a blow because he explains he would like to work on her. She is eligible. She has a ton of skin. And it's similar to Vanessa's situation that there's just so much skin that maybe it's a liability or it's just dangerous. The healing process, there's a risk of infections and a risk of complications, something along those lines. And he tells her he's one doctor. He doesn't have a team of doctors. He recommends she get more than one doctor, as many doctors as possible, doing this surgery on her because there's just so much skin that needs to be removed that it would take hours and hours to complete. And the longer the surgery time, the greater chance of complications and things going wrong. And the more doctors they have, the less time it will take. And it's just so much safer in the event that something does happen, God forbid, right? So it is what it is. She's lost, he mentions, she's lost over 400 pounds. It's like 460 something pounds she's lost. And with that immense amount of weight that's lost, there's so much skin. And that skin does need to come off because I think he mentions that she's got rashes and stuff. And it's like Vanessa in the other show mentions how she can't even sleep at night because she turns over and the skin is like under her arm and pinching and it wakes her up. And I'd go crazy. Like, I need my sleep, right? I'd go crazy with that. So it's a crushing blow, but it's not a exact no. She just has to wait a little more and find the right team of doctors that can help her. And you can tell she's upset. Her face is, the sad face and all that. I felt for her. She's been waiting like Chris, longer than Chris, because her surgery was before Chris, or was it after? Don't quote me on that. I'm probably wrong. I got to rewatch it, like you said. But yeah, so that's how that portion ends. I really hope that they do find a team that can help her and she gets what she needs done. And the episode ends with them preparing their trip to London, despite, not being approved right away. Tammy is in good spirits. They're all in good spirits. They all get together. They get all their luggage together. For some reason, Amy has this belt. Okay, I was so confused by this belt. And Amanda's face when she saw it was just shocking. And she was just shocked and disgusted. And I don't know what this belt is for. I don't want to know what this belt is for. And just the look on Amanda's face tells me I don't need to know what it's for. That's all I'm going to say on that, okay? But it was very funny. They all head over to Chris's house because that's kind of the hub where they're all going to leave together in the van or whatever it is, bus. They got all their luggage. Amanda comes in. She's got her backpack on the front because they're afraid of pickpocketers. You put the backpack on the front so they can't pickpocket you. And they're just all laughing and having a good time. I love these moments. They just fill me with happiness. One thing I noticed, Amy mentioned that she was so happy to be able to go. And Amanda's like, you got to be proud of yourself for this. You've come so far. And it's true. She has come so far despite, 2 pregnancies and everything. And the weight fluctuating with that. She has lost a lot at the end of the day. Season 1, her highest weight, I cannot see her getting on a plane. And she even mentions that she could not have done it at that weight. You would probably need, more than one seat. It would be uncomfortable. You would be stuck in the seatbelt. It would be claustrophobic. I can't even imagine, just at my weight, I'm close to my goal weight, but I'm a little overweight, it is what it is. I'm on a journey. Even I get claustrophobic in those seats. I can't imagine at 400, 300 pounds. being comfortable in these seats at all. And yeah, it's a big NSV that she is able to do this. It's a big accomplishment that she's able to get on this plane and do this. And it was a nice moment. Amanda congratulating her and, pumping her up, because you never really congratulate yourself. You always congratulate others, and you kind of always beat yourself up, but you don't congratulate yourself for what you have accomplished. And Amanda is giving this reminder. Another reason I really like Amanda. And yeah, Amy's just she just has this realization moment, and she's just proud of herself, and she's a little teary, a little bit. So I'm so happy for her, and I can't wait to see the crazy adventure they go on with this trip. Okay, I'm just waiting. We'll see what happens. They all get their luggage, they all get in the van, and they go. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited. I know it's going to be fun. So I hope you guys are all having a great, motivating day. If it's not so motivating, try to find one small thing that can turn it around. A small walk, short walk, a healthy meal, a podcast, weight loss journey, vlog pod. Yeah, anything. Just turn it around in some way. And if you can't, take that time to take some mental health, take some self-care, because we rarely give ourselves self-care anymore, right? But anyways, happy goal getting, happy motivating. Have a great day. See you next time.